Hello guys, it's Maddie Silasha and welcome to another video. In this one, I wanted to test out some of the new items that we got in the latest free update. A lot of people know that that update was, well, it was supposed to be for fixing the base game, some of the base game hairs and skin tones that we have for Darker Sims, which, I mean, you can check out my other video for my opinions on that, but basically it was not successful. But the other point that was a bit of a surprise about that update, because it was, you know, it's for the base game, it was free, and it was, a lot of people knew it was supposed to, quote unquote, fix skin tones, but they also announced a few days before that they were going to be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month with some kind of Hispanic Latin themed items, and I absolutely love anything color, anything sort of pattern, anything just really like bright and bold. So basically these items are very much up my street, and as soon as I saw them I was kind of thinking like a Latin style restaurant. I didn't want to make it specific to one particular country, you know, like a Mexican restaurant or a Brazilian restaurant or something like that. I just sort of thought just some kind of like Latin food. I did play around with the menu, even though obviously you won't like see it in this video. It was actually quite fun to pick, because of course we got some new food items with the update as well. I have actually been to Argentina and Uruguay myself, so I do recognize quite a few items on that list. I've had quite a few as well, and Latin food is really, really nice. So again, that was one of the main reasons that I wanted to build this little Latin style restaurant. It is particularly small. It's also outdoor dining only, because I mean that's also part of the reason that I wanted to build it in Oasis Springs, because I guess the idea is that it's in somewhere that's hot all the time, so diners would only ever dine outside. I also had the idea that it's the kind of restaurant that you'd find in like really small towns, or not like on motorways, but like on the side of roads kind of thing. Basically, I've been rewatching Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, which is set in New Mexico. So you get a lot of like, you know, taco restaurants and burrito restaurants and stuff. And that was kind of what I had in mind when I did this. And it's also the kind of place that's kind of cheap, but also it is very good quality. And it's the kind of place that actual Hispanic people would eat at. Like it's an actual authentic one, not like an American version, I guess, if that makes sense. But yeah, so I just wanted to obviously focus more so on the outside, because like I said, it is outdoor dining only, so there's no dining space inside, just the kitchen and the bathrooms. And I started out at the front, and I kind of had the vision as well as it being perfect for actual, you know, local people, Hispanic people. It's also a really good place for families. So I was imagining, you know, in the peak of the summer, they could all sort of sit around that sort of dining table and chairs outside and, you know, enjoy a glass of wine and some, you know, proper Hispanic food. Put the little grill there. I mean, again, I just really wanted to showcase some of the items that we got, because, yeah, I really, really liked them, and I went for very much the yellow, red, and orange theme. So I tried out, I don't know what it's called, that sort of wooden structure with the plants. It's very, very pretty, but I don't know what it's called. And then I tried out the grill and the dining table and the chairs, and they were all, I thought they looked really, really cute. Like I say, I am a sucker for bright colours, and I really, really like the swatches that came with all of these items. They're quite diverse, I guess you could say, because I think they also come in like white swatches and black swatches, but I will definitely be using them for a lot of my builds going forward. And then at the side of the restaurant, I was quite proud of, because the idea that I had was that it was kind of takeaway, but like I said, that there is a dining space, but I've put this kind of hole in the wall kind of thing. So that room behind it is the kitchen. And you can order over that little counter there. So I put like a few little posters and pieces of art as well, because this is basically where you place your order directly with the kitchen. And then you take your food outside. So again, I don't know why. This was exactly what I imagined when I saw those items. And I did have a lot of fun building this. I imagine it's, the perfect place to... I'm just trying to think what I put on the menu. As I said, I put a lot of the new Hispanic food items, a lot of fish, a lot of chili dishes and burritos and tacos and things like that. So, I wanted to... I'm not of Hispanic heritage. Like I say, I have been to South America, but I am not of that descent by any means. So I am not going to claim that this is authentic in the slightest, but I definitely tried my best. This was, let's say, just a little vision that I had in my head. I also wanted to use the murals. I used one at the front and the back, and then this is that sort of back dining space. I played around quite a bit with the kind of plants that I wanted to use here, and the rearrangement of the tables and the seating and stuff. There's quite a bit of seating. It's quite small, but I think I did want it to seat quite a few Sims. And then just going on to talk a little bit now about the Hispanic update, because I think overall it was quite well received. It's quite an interesting update because the skin tone quote unquote improvements were definitely not well received, but the Hispanic items I think largely have been. Let's say I really, really like them, and I know a lot of people have. Of course, there have been complaints, and as I said, I am not a Hispanic person. I am not from South America. I'm not from Mexico, Argentina, anywhere like that. So I cannot talk too much about this, but I do know that a lot of people have been saying that some of the items are quite stereotypical, and also that it doesn't really represent all of Latin America, and I totally get that. And it kind of reminds me of when American people say things like, oh, I went to Europe, and it's like, well, going to Spain is different to going to Slovakia. It's very, very different. So, to play devil's advocate, the Sims team hasn't come out and said, we are going to be representing the whole Latin community. Do you know what I mean? It's not to represent everyone who is Hispanic. It's just supposed to be, I don't know, inspired by, I guess you could say. So it's, for example, it's not going to represent Peruvian style items. It's not going to represent, I don't know, Chilean or something like that. It's just generally, I guess, what we think of when we think of kind of the Hispanic Latin style. Like I say, very colourful, very bold, lots of cute patterns. And again, I really like that, but I'm not going to personally give comment about the, quality and the representation of the items, because it isn't representing my own community, so I don't have authority to say so. But just my own personal opinion is that I do think the items are very cute, and I think I definitely appreciate that they have tried to put it in. I do think it's crazy concept that a life simulation game has been out for 6 years before it introduces representation for Hispanic people and people with darker skin tones. Definitely this has come really late, but again, some will say it's quite problematic to take the approach, at least they're doing it, because is that even good enough? Is there any excuse for leaving it this late? I don't know, but personally, I do think it's great that they are recognizing that there are issues with representation in the game. It's, it's an American game. even, you know, like European style cities, there's not many of those. It's often sort of complained that it's American centric game. So things like this I'm very happy to see. As you can imagine, I also used a lot of items from Jungle Adventure because, again, that's supposed to be kind of a South American jungle inspired world and game pack. So the items fit really, really well with what we got in this latest update. Especially with a lot of the colors and the you know, the wallpapers, they matched the items really well. So I kind of like that pack and this update go together really, really well. And then, yeah, I'm just on the inside now. I did want to keep it kind of minimally decorated because, again, it's literally just to have the kitchen and the bathroom, and then the seating is outdoors. And to be honest, part of the reason I did want to do this is because I wanted to keep the build just a little bit smaller. Again, it's supposed to be the idea that it's not a super fancy chain restaurant or something like that. It's just like a little independent place, I guess you'd find. I don't know how to describe it when I say like on the side of the road. If you've watched Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, maybe you'll know what I'm talking about. But again, just the idea that it's not expensive, it's not fancy, but it's like really good quality food. It's like, you know, it's where you want to go when you want to have authentic Latin food, basically. It's not like a, you know, commercial chain or something like that. And then, yeah, this is just the entrance. Like, again, I mean, decorations were minimal, I guess. I did use a lot of the dine out stuff, of course. I like a lot of the signs that came with that pack. It really does make it feel just that little bit more like a restaurant. And I'm particularly happy with the front of this restaurant. Like, I just love how sort of bold and colourful and bright it is. Like, I think it really does stand out. And I decided to add the tiki bar to the outside, of course. And I don't think I've actually used it before. But I thought if I was going to use it in any build, it would be this one. And I remember when The Sims 4 came out in 2014. And I mean, I was quite young, so my dad bought it for me like the day it came out, and he insisted on getting the what's it called, like the special edition, limited edition one, you know, that had that extra content, and included in that was the tiki bar, or maybe it was only the tiki bar, but basically you paid like a little bit extra for the game, and then you got this tiki bar, and he was like, yeah, you know, you got to get it, you got to get that like extra all the extra items. So finally, 6 years in, I am actually using the tiki bar, so better late than never. And then I got to this point in the build and I realized that I forgot that we also got another item with this update, which is these pots. I think they are super, super cute, and I did see on social media some people saying that you can use them as alternative plant pots. So I did spend a considerable amount of time experimenting with different plants that I could put inside and use them as kind of makeshift plant pots. And I do think for that purpose they are super, super cute, especially if you have like a nice big sort of statement plant. You can put it in one of those pots, or you can just use them as decoration. I don't know if there's any other thing that you could put in them. If you do have any ideas, I would love to hear them, because again, this is another item that I will be using a lot in my builds. I think all of these items, except maybe the murals, I will use a lot, and the murals are really, really cool, but they are probably the most, I don't know, what would you say, that they're very bold, and you wouldn't just use them like in a house, you know, or an apartment or something like that. They're also really big as well, so you do need a lot of wall space to put them down. But all those other items, although they're super bright, I definitely think they are, you know, bold, but not too bold that, you know, you couldn't use them in a lot of builds. I think I would be using those items a lot, but that mural, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be putting those in my regular builds, but I still definitely appreciate that we have them in the first place, because yeah, like I said, I keep saying it, but honestly, I really do like these items, and I had a lot of fun building this build. I love doing sort of Latin / Spanish / Hispanic style bills. I love, you know, a lot of the uses of like oranges and yellows and reds and those really bright, fun colours. And yeah, then I am just going on to the kitchen, which I believe is the last part of this build. Quite small. Again, I didn't want to do a super big restaurant. The idea is it's just a small, quaint place. And again, this is kind of where you would place your orders. I never tried actually using it as a functional restaurant, so I don't think I've ever actually used a restaurant full stop within the game. I've built quite a few restaurants, but I've never actually played with them. So in terms of where you actually do order, probably it doesn't work out that way. But in my head, you basically place the order through that little window. And yeah, like I said, I think we're basically coming on towards the end of the video in a second. I really hope you liked this one. As I said, I definitely had a lot of fun building with these new items. Let me know what you think. Do you think that you will be using these in a lot of your builds going forward? Did you like this video? Do you like the restaurant? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. But until my next video, bye!